Hi, welcome to the School Run. I'm Jane.
And I'm Liv.
And we are going to share with you the best conversations we have on our school run.
We will invite guests and debate topics that affect and resonate with every generation.
We all remember our own school run, so maybe have a think about yours.
What do you remember?
Hello and welcome to another episode of the School Run podcast. For those people who are listening for the first time, my name's Jane and I'm joined by my 16-year-old daughter, Liv. We started this podcast at the beginning of 2023 when she was only 15 years old, and we really wanted to empower and inspire young people and adults alike that you don't have to have it all figured out at school. In fact, life is a learning journey. So we've been chatting to lots of guests over the weeks. We've had amazing people listening and supporting us, over 2,500 people now involved, and we're so privileged to be in this position. Liv, how are you feeling about today's podcast episode chat?
I'm really excited.
Why are you so excited?
I feel like because part of it we've experienced, so therefore I feel like more and kind of like involved and more passionate about it because I know what it's about.
Okay, so when you've been through a process, I guess it's easier for you to talk about it, to chat to guests.
To ask more questions.
Absolutely, because we've had a range of guests. We've had people that work in HR, we've had lawyers, we've had technical performance directors of football clubs.
Professional athletes.
Everyone has been on a journey, but today is something that you've experienced, so that's why it's so exciting. And we actually headhunted this gentleman. I've known him for many years. He's known my family for many years. My aunts, my mother, my grandmother, my late grandmother. And so it's a privilege to welcome onto our podcast, Cliff Bashforth. Thank you for joining us, Cliff.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you. Absolute pleasure.
Some people ask us, do we record this podcast on the school run because it's called the school run?
Yeah.
Obviously we're not. We're in our front room with a microphone and having a general chat. So thank you for being with us. Cliff is the managing director of Colour Me Beautiful, Europe, Africa and the Middle East. It's a sizable organisation. He's been an image consultant for over 35 years and he works with all sorts of women and men, senior directors, blue chip organisations. He's been on the national press, Granada TV. We're going to hear about his story and ultimately have a bit more understanding about Colour Me Beautiful. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure. As I said, great. Yeah, it's really good to see you again. And of course, Liv, we were chatting as I arrived. Liv didn't exist when we last met because I haven't seen you for ages. Yeah, so no, good to meet Liv also.
Absolutely. Yeah. Colour Me Beautiful, we've spoken about it, having our colours done. That's how we've termed it in inverted commas on previous podcast episodes. And people have reached out and said, I'd be interested in knowing more about what having your colours done is. And I guess it's just being curious to understand what that means. And I know that people will often say, well, I don't want to be told what colour to wear. That's a common thing I imagine you hear all the time. Just tell us a little bit about having your colours done.
Okay, it's colour analysis. So you're having your colours analysed. Let me go back because I was forced to have it done. Wow. I was forced to have my colours analysed. In, 1987, I worked for Weller, the hairdressing company, and the whole sales force and technicians had their colours analysed because Weller were changing their shade chart and they wanted to look at warm skin tones and cool skin tones and show hairdressers not how to put colour on. That sounds really, really arrogant. But think about skin tone, rather than saying what do you fancy or this is a new shade, not thinking whether it would work or not. So as a salesman in those days, I went to have it done. Almost kicking and screaming, thinking, what a waste of time, somebody telling me what to do. I know what to do. Boy, did I not know what to do. I tell you what, it was life-changing, absolutely life-changing. I went home and dipped 14 white shirts in tea and softened them. So I was starting to go back into salons weeks later and I didn't look like I needed a blood transfusion anymore. And I bought new suits, and people thought I'd gone on holiday. And I was feeling better because I got more compliments. So that started the journey, basically. So I wrote off to 3 companies, all good companies in the UK, went down to sort of interview them because it was a lot of money to train in those days, compared to what we just paid for a house, sort of thing. And I trained with Colour Me Beautiful in 88. I was probably their first male consultant. They'd got several consultants. They'd spread around Europe, Africa. The Middle East hadn't been tapped then. That was shortly after. And 2 years later, I gave up my job at Weller and went full-time as a consultant. So I was self-employed. We moved house. I bought a house with a double garage that was converted into my studio. I saw 6,000 women in that converted garage. Not all
6,000?
Not all on the same day. Over 7 years. Then we had to move because it got too busy, and my office was at home, so I didn't have this sounds really awful because I did have a life. I was having a wonderful time. But we moved in open premises, which we're still in Penwitham. So, it just kept going. I was just busy all the time. And basically, what you said, people say, oh, I don't want somebody telling me what colours to wear. Now, I think we did that in the 80s and possibly early 90s, but we switched that at the turn of the century and changed how we offer colour analysis. And what we do now is if anybody says that to me or one of the 1,100 women that I have, thank God they don't all live here. It's like herding wasps and things. But we show people how to wear colour. So you can have whatever you want. If you love blue, if you want this, there's pinks and peaches all over the place at the moment. Blue's a big colour. But it's just on the shade and the tone and how you put it together, how much contrast you use. Sometimes you hear these terms, a warm colour, a cool colour, certainly makeup. And we do the same, and it's just harmonising a range of hundreds and hundreds of colours to suit you. Now, okay, when you leave a session, you get a wallet, which is in front of me. You've shown me yours.
Yeah.
Your wallet with 42 swatches in, because you use those as a guide.
We can show it on the camera.
Right. It's not a Bible. This is not a Bible. It's, Liv, you don't get black. Black's not a colour. I don't wear black. If somebody has a colour analysis, we try and ease them off black. We have 24 palettes, as we call it, 24 categories, 24 slots where we put it, again, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't put people into, but there has to be some guidelines and boundaries. And half of them get black. But I think with most of the consultants we have, if they're anything like me, and that's wherever they are in the world, certainly for a woman, unless she needs black for her wardrobe, it is the default setting. And it's a shame, really, when there's so much colour around.
Yeah.
But, of course, what we're talking about today is because of this colour resurgence that we're having, is that people don't know what to do if they don't put black on. I used to do loads of shopping trips. I can't now because I have a company to run. But, and I'd take women shopping in October and they say, we want something for Christmas for an evening do.
So they default to a little black
dress,
I
say, we're not
guess.
buying black. Even if it suits you, you are not paying me to shop with you to buy a black dress. That's ridiculous. You can do that on your own. And if you want to look like you need a blood transfusion at this dinner dance, you do it on your own. Don't say, Cliff Bashforth took me shopping and bought me this.
Yeah.
We'll look at aubergine or damson or sapphire blue and they say, but there aren't those colours. I said, yes, there are. It's just you're blinkered and you only aim for black because you think it's slimming. And I can tell you, sweetheart, as a blonde, you're just going to look bigger in black. You put a blonde-haired, pear-shaped woman in a light top and a black skirt. If she's got bigger hips and she's lighter colouring, like Ulrika Johnson, like Reese Witherspoon, these real natural blondes. Holly Willoughby, it was Carol Kirkwood who reads the news, the weather. You put if they've got big hips and you put them in a black skirt with a light blouse, you might as well put fairy lights on their hips. They're going to look enormous because you're drawn down.
Yeah.
So black is a default setting. It is a shame there are colours out there.
Yeah, and you just have to, like you touched on something really crucial there, that you just have to take the blinkers off and be shown a different way. And this is being shown a different way. So I was shown the way by my grandmother, my aunties, my mother. And because I always wore black as a teenager and as a young person, and I was singing professional opera at the time. So I defaulted to black dresses on stage. And actually all it was doing was showing everyone to home in on the dress and not me as a person.
Now, you're lucky enough. You suit black. You've got gorgeous clear colouring, which, you're lighter than. Let me tell you what a clear could be. I mean, at the moment we're using Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Yes.
As a clearest clear. I think when we use celebrities as examples, you've always got to use the typical. The way you go, dark hair, bright eyes. When I trained, it was Elizabeth Taylor we used as our clear.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan is in our men's book as a clear. And these clears look great in black, but there are other fantastic colours out there. I mean, going back to evening wear, if somebody's on a budget or they want longevity out of a dress, you as a clear would suit red. But as your first evening dress, I wouldn't buy you a red evening dress because it's memorable. And you go to several places and they go, she's got that dress on again. And they mime it, women mime it.
To be honest, with my little voices hat on, I'm always in red, so people know that about me. But you're right, you don't get the same longevity out of a blonde
whereas
dress.
charcoal, aubergine, damson, sapphire blue, they're all strong colours.
Yeah.
They all have a slimming effect because darker colours are more slimming than lighter colours. But if you tip it over and wear a contrast level that overpowers your natural colouring, we're always going to look down to it. And we struggled to then get the eye up again.
Absolutely.
Basically.
So I was opened up to this. I absolutely fell in love with it. Was delivered my palette at the time.
Yeah.
And I've obviously opened it up to my daughter.
Yeah.
And I said to her, we're going to go and get our colours done. Last year we spent each month of the year doing one memorable experience together, post-pandemic, something to really focus on. And January's this year was going to see one of your fabulous consultants, because you've got, as you just said, 1,100 consultants doing this. So people do go into this as a part-time or full-time career as well.
Which I did. I started from nowhere, went part-time and then went full-time. And then there was an old advert, Liv, you won't remember this, the Remington shaver, and it was Victor Kayam, ladies in their 40s, 50s, 60s will know this. And he said he liked the shaver so much he bought the company. People will be giggling at this. And I did. It came up for sale and I wondered what I was going to do. So we sold our house, me and my partner, and we bought the company. And we brought everything to the north of England.
Amazing, because it was always London.
It was
and the south.
London. And to be honest, it was too expensive to run a corporation for me. I wasn't used to the costs down there of property or rent or anything like that.
And you brought it up north. So all of these consultants. And it's funny how it happened, because I'd been in a magazine, a Northwest magazine. Little Voices had won an award and we were in there. And as I was flicking through the magazine, I saw this huge double page spread on the lovely Sarah Harris.
Okay.
And it just made me think, Olivia's at that right stage. She's going to be going for college interviews, prom dresses, all of these things, and actually experimenting with makeup, because you do all of the makeup side of colouring as well, which I'm sure we'll come on to. It's a big part of your business now. But I took Liv. So what was the experience, Liv? Tell me, I said to you, we're going to have our colours done. What was it like?
I mean, the first thing you said to me is that they'll put makeup on you. Now, I'm not really a big makeup person because I have really sensitive skin. It's like all the harsh brands that I've had, Dior makeup or other brands, and it really makes my skin break out. So I was really scared for that. But the actual makeup that I ended up buying from the appointment, I use it all the time. It's so good, but it kind of feels more like a more moisturising and it's real. Anyway, I was going and I was really interested on how you did it, because I asked, how do you know what colours I am? And Sarah said it's how it reflects on your chin. So can you explain how you know what?
Test.
Yeah.
Okay. We First of all, you sit down. Well, I mean, the experienced consultants, and Sarah has been with us quite a number of years. You'll go to them, they may shake your hand and say, "How are you?" And they've got it. They've got what colours suit you in their head.
Yeah.
Well, you knew as soon as you walked through the door today. You looked at both of us. And...
Yeah, because I've had 20,000 women in my... I shouldn't have said had. Analysed over 20,000 women in the 27 years I was working as a consultant. I do very little consulting now because I don't have time. So I had 7-8 years running the company and spoken to hundreds upon hundreds of thousands and done workshops, where I've pulled people up. And you've got to make snappy decisions.
And I guess working with companies as well, because there'll be some people listening that maybe run companies or, Royal Bank of Scotland, all of these big firms, they have to think about what their employees are going to look good in a standard uniform. So you've had all that blue chip experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because, there's, we could go on for days because there's so many facets to this business. Because, when I trained, we were image consultants. Our logo now, we have Colour Me Beautiful, and we have our coloured bars underneath. If you look at our website, there is a logo. And then we have not phrases, but the words underneath that say image consultants or personal styling, because we send different logos out to different people. Mm-hmm. And then we've got advisors to the fashion industry. I was in a shopping centre with 4 of our consultants the other Friday in Luton, helping customers shop. We were doing little consultations, and they were taking them to River Island, to Next, to all these places. Mm-hmm. As a clear, as a curvy, with a waist, you possibly curvy with a waist with bright colouring, who's long-legged and short-waisted, all these things that women and men are. And then being able to dress them based on what they're seeing in front of them. And going back to that question you posed with colour, yes, we use our larger fabric drapes, as we call them, which are large squares of fabric, about 18 inches by 12 inches. Think of a placemat, one of the sort of fabric placemats or something. And they go under your chin, and of course a consultant knows what to place under that's right and wrong, because it's not about us knowing and saying hi when you walk in and going, "I've got it, I know exactly which category out of our 24 she's falls into and what shade she gets." And notice I've used the word shades, not colours.
Yes, yeah.
Because colours don't matter. But it's her having to prove to you, and without you having any makeup on, Sarah would have done some what we call tests. They are called tests. With warmer and cooler colours, softer and clearer colours, all of that. So you go, I can see the difference. Oh, blimey. If somebody's watching, they go, "Oh, my God, her face changed colour."
It's interesting what happens to, when you're seeing the colour swatches go up, what happens to your jawline, what shade your skin goes. Mine goes really orangey with something warm on, and it's jaundice looking.
Which is actually, I do this all the time. I interrupt.
No, it's fine. It's great. It's a natural conversation. We want to educate our listeners.
Yeah, don't talk when I'm interrupting. You've hit the nail on the head, and it happened to me. I saw a couple of clients after work yesterday, because we've got great daylight now. I have daylight bulbs for I was good September, October, November, December, January, February, March, and April. 8 months. And it was interesting. And one had the same skin as yours, and which is, there's olive skin, which is golden and warm and works when you put warm colours up, they look great. And then a cooler skin can either be rosy or a rose black, because you get really dark skins that have a bluey tinge or a golden tinge. Mm-hmm. And it's a word we would only say if you've said it, yellowness, because it's not the greatest word in the world, but can go quite sallow.
Yes.
In the wrong colours. And a lot of ladies know this, but they don't know why. Mm-hmm. But you see, the benefit of being a little bit sallow is you tan beautifully.
Yes.
That's the thing. When you get me, who's like one up from Tipex, if you look at my wrist, I'm so white and blue, who has different shades to you that work. And again, keep noticing, I keep using the word shades, not colours. because the colours, you just get what
you get
want within reason.
You are not restricted.
Yeah, it's like I said to my friend, I said, I've been to get my colours, and she said, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that because it's like them telling me what I should and shouldn't wear. And I was like...
Well, in a way it is. And listen, some people don't want to know.
Yeah.
I was astounded when I first trained, and I went out and did presentations, and I presented all the time. And certainly when I went full-time and had to make an income out of this and replace a salary, a company car, lunch allowance, free shampoo, holiday
from
pay.
Weller.
And I believe I was never off sick, but I even believed, as an employee, if I was off sick, they kept paying me, which I think is awesome. That hasn't happened to me now for 33 years.
Yes.
So I just keep working and I'm not sick. But it's interesting that not everybody wants to do it. Not everybody wants a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah.
Not everybody, wants an Audi Q4 that I follow down the road. We're all different, and people think, no, it's not for me. And I couldn't get to grips with that for a long, long time because I thought this was incredible and life-changing. Why doesn't everybody want to do it? But they don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
And that's okay.
And you've said things like you don't normally wear makeup, so you're a natural. When we do our styling services, we have, which is all about body shape. I mean, I'm going to link in something else. January to March, I was working in Birmingham, training opticians how to sell specs based on colouring, face shape, proportion, nose length, distance between the eyes, scale, the size of them, because, and I don't mean to disrespect any opticians, but a lot of opticians are, not the people that test eyes, but the dispensing opticians, they get to know with trying loads on, but it can be a bit hit and miss. And they do say things like, here's your prescription, go and choose a frame. How do you know?
Yeah.
What if you're as blind as a bat? That's even worse because you have to take your white stick in to go to the frames even because you've just taken. So even that we do, and not all, we had an article in one of the optical magazines early in the year, and some of them went for it and said, oh, Columbia Beautiful, you can come in and train us, and we did, but there wasn't a rush.
Because now in terms of glasses, you can get so many colours, so many shapes, the lens shapes. Obviously, I mean, it's a whole...
And
the fashion statement, you see, they're not to make the art. You've got to be able to see through your specs, and they've got to be great for your eyes. The correct prescription, I don't take any of that away. But in this day and age, they become, for both sex, for men and women, they are a fashion accessory also. And they're on your face.
Yeah.
I used to talk to so many women who I'd say, get your specs out, I want to check them. Let me have a look, see if they work. And they said, I got these, but I didn't really like them. But my husband was with me and he wanted to go and eat, and he said they suit me because he was hungry. And they said, but I've never really liked them. And my standard saying to that was, do you know, I can't believe this, that a woman would never buy a handbag she didn't like.
Yeah.
But she would buy specs she's not keen on. These specs I've got cost more than my first car.
Really?
Well, it was only 370. I'm a lot older than you guys. It was secondhand and it was burgundy and rust. The rust was the bit that was crumbling. It wasn't the colour. £375. So, we've lots of strings to our bows, but I lived to done to that, your question again, not everybody rushes up and wants to do it, which still astounds me because it does make a huge difference when we're now trying to save the planet, and I'd much rather people buy fewer things that they love. And once you stick to this palette of colours, which are soft for you, they're soft, you don't suit a lot of contrast, so they're quite muted colours.
Yeah.
Your skin tone's cooler, so they're blue-based colours. And with a few goes at that over a few months, you don't need to take that wallet out with you continuously because you get it in your head. And if you stick to that palette, everything starts to coordinate in your wardrobe.
Yeah.
So what you buy to go with one thing, actually, when you get home, goes with 3 other things in your wardrobe. And I tell you what, that's what hooked me on it, because packing became a dream.
Because everything coordinates and everything goes together.
But not immediately, because you haven't got the budget to rush out. And again, these ladies I saw last night, we had a hoot. It was mum and a daughter-in-law. And I said, this can't happen overnight unless you can remortgage the house and buy every single item of clothing you want. But you can't, because the shops haven't got it. It will come in over various seasons with fewer shops to shop in because the high street is disappearing. So, it's not a long-term thing, but over a couple of seasons, you can get a coordinated. We've been talking about this morning at work. We've had a meeting and used the word capsule wardrobe, which I feel is a bit dated. So I've said like core essentials in your wardrobe, basic key pieces, and then you add to those each time you find something. And that's why I say each time you find something, because do you not find when you go shopping for something specific, it's not there?
Yeah.
They've hidden it. They know you're coming.
Yeah.
Every size 12 or whatever in the rack in the colour you wanted.
It's gone.
And then I think a lot of ladies and guys do this sales buying, why they buy something in the sale because it's a bargain. But again, a bargain's not a bargain unless you're going to wear it.
Yeah.
So that's another challenge. It hangs in the wardrobe and you go, what do I put it with? I've never bought anything to go with it. A couple of years go by and you think, I've never worn that. And of course, 3 years later, you try it on and it's changed. It's shrunk.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with you and your weight gain.
Yeah.
But, and you think, I'll diet to get into it. You diet to get in something you didn't wear in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. So it makes shopping really easy, really slick,
definitely.
cost effective, and like you say, everything coordinated.
Yeah, and it was really interesting for me because when I went, I did the colours and then also like the body shape.
Yes.
And I also did like what fabrics you should wear based on that. So, I was told, I think it was like an hourglass, but my shoulders were a bit wider than my hips.
Okay.
So that made it really interesting because it was like wear like more lighter, softer materials on the top and wear more like thicker like denim
that's
on
why
the
you've got
bottom.
cargo pants.
Yeah.
Also because they balance. If it was pear-shaped, if it was the other way around, you wouldn't do the cargo pants.
Yeah.
Because they bring more attention to the hips.
Yeah.
And it's just simple tips like that that make you become a laser shopper. And realise that I'm curvier.
Yeah.
And that's where you do fabric that drapes over curves, because if you put tweed or corduroy or polished cotton or gabardine over curves, you can look like you've been lagged like an immersion heater jacket because it doesn't drape. If you're watching this, you've seen my hand. Soft, crisp fabrics don't go round curves.
Yeah.
They jut out and you look bigger.
Yeah.
Fluid fabrics go over curves. There's days worth.
It's so interesting because I was like, it makes sense now why I didn't like my school uniform because it was in white and white was too like bright for me. And I also had the blazer had shoulder pads, which made my shoulders look even wider. Yeah. So and I was like, it's not that I look ugly. It's just that school uniform doesn't work on me, which made me feel happier.
Absolutely. And actually your skirt you liked because it went out. It went out and it had some balanced and structure. It's just, and you got in the car and you said, Mum, that was life-changing. I love that phrase.
Yeah, it really was.
From a 15-year-old girl, that was life-changing.
And even it was
brilliant.
But then I also find it harder because, as you said, like the high street's disappearing, and then when you shop online, they don't have these specific shades of the colour. It's either just pink or, blue. And it's like, how do I know because I'm shopping online that shade will suit me? As well in like, even in shops, like the different lightings in shops, Mum said can make the shades look a bit different.
But if you have your wallet with you, with your swatches in,
then
they're distorted just like the garments, so they still match.
Yeah.
Even though they're both distorted. And then, of course, shopping online, it's extremely difficult. I do very little. There's a couple of companies where I find things that have suited me because, you learn about your body shape. I'm a bloke, I'm rectangular. I'm really long in the legs for my height. I've got a short rise, which means my bum's little, which means when I sit down, I look like an orphan. I went to a restaurant over the weekend and it was quite oldie-worldy and bigger tables. And the waiter asked me if I wanted a booster cushion because I sit down and I'm diddy, but I can sit in the back of the car almost and touch the pedals. So I've got to be careful. There's a shop I love, if I say Hugo Boss, but I can't buy their trousers because they're too long in the rise. So even though I get the waist size right and the shape, slimmer, I put them on and the crotches sort of
way down. Yeah. So it brings us on to a really good area to discuss, really. This is not just about women. This is men too.
No, absolutely.
Vents on the back of jackets, belts, size of belts, the turn-ups on pants or not, where your cargo shorts or not.
Well, again, I went shopping for a jacket the other week, and I went into a store. And I thought, oh gosh, I'd love to train these people, because I said I want a jacket. It needs to be a bit different. I don't want black. I don't want grey. I want colour. And I never have my swatches with me. But anyway, I picked a couple out. And the sales assistant, although she was lovely, and I said, it's got to be 2-button. And I need it slightly nipped in, but I'm not chunky, I'm straight up and down. And I'd picked the one I actually bought, but she was very helpful and got some stuff. And she pulled out a 3-button, and I said, I can't do a 3-button jacket because I'm short in the torso and long in the legs, and there's not enough room on my body to fit 3 buttons. Even if I don't button them, it makes my legs, they make my legs look even lankier because it brings your eye up. And she said, that is so interesting.
And obviously you just took it and smiled. You'd worked this out on your own.
So we do, I did a few pre-COVID, we were training department stores and the sales staff. Because again, I've got the personal shoppers, a lot of them, they're great. And if you went in and said, Liv, because you don't get black, I want a black dress, she'd go and find you one.
Yeah.
I would argue with you. I'd make
challenge.
I'd argue. Because I say, it's not about you, it's about me. You want to look good, so you listen to me. So I'd say, have a coffee. I'd slip something in it so you're partially sedated. So you would listen to everything I said. And I would go and find you a damson evening, a sapphire blue or something, and a black, to prove that you don't suit the black.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to get over to shop staff also, that are really good at their jobs, not to always go for what the customer is asking for.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't always know.
Yes.
Find out what they want, but you then, I was going to say sell them what they need, but transfer your belief. You don't have to sell. People don't have to sell. If I've done all my career is transfer my belief in what we do. And if I've taken ladies shopping for their specs and guys shopping, the David Myers around the corner from me, Broadhurst in Preston, that we used to do events where they'd get their customers in and I would help their customers choose their specs. And some specs, let's not talk about everybody that needs a prescription. Designer, some specs are a lot, you can go
your
to
sunglasses.
hundreds.
You can spend fortunes on them. Yeah. But some people are wearing these sunglasses that they've paid a fortune for and they just don't suit the face.
Like a wasp. They do, and it's a shame because it's all that money.
Are you enjoying this episode so far? Liv and I have loved this chat. It's going to be even better in the second half. I'm just interrupting to make you aware of a special offer with Colour Me Beautiful if you're really enjoying listening to this episode and you think, oh, I'd like to do that, or I know someone that I know that would like a gift voucher for this, or it would be great for them, or my business would really benefit from working with a consultant. So if you ring the head office, Colour Me Beautiful head office, 01772 750 052, that's 01772 750 052, or get in contact with the head office and quote the school run, they will match you with your nearest consultant, make sure you're with the very right person for you, and give you an excellent discount. But you've got to quote the school run on your communication so that they can make sure that you are matched with your most ideal consultant in your area of the country. And they know that you've heard this podcast and have heard all about Cliff's journey and what style, makeup, colour can do for you. So in the show notes, you can find all the details. If you're also interested in maybe being a consultant or finding out more about having this as a business for you, you can email Cliff directly and we'll put his email address in the show notes of this episode. So don't forget to get in touch and quote the School Run. Liv and I love our colour palettes. You can tell in this episode how much we have embraced this opportunity. And actually, when you find out about it, life changes forever. So maybe get your colours done, or your style, or your makeup, or get it for them, a loved one or man in your life, and see how it works for you. Back to the episode.
But you see, going back to, I think I used this term when Colour Me Beautiful launched 4 or 5 years before I got involved in this, they were image consultants. It was image, it was serious, and it was looking the part to get the job you want, you know. And people either had their colours analysed and style analysed because they needed it for their jobs, or it was ladies that lunch that had spare income and wanted a fun session. Then it got where there's too many choices out there for clothing and people were making mistakes. That this colour analysis throughout the 90s became huge, whereas people thought if they invested now it's 160. It's no mean sum. I know it isn't.
£160 to have your colour analysis.
To have your colour analysis, we do your makeup in that, which means you'll always get your makeup right for a few decades. You know, okay, if I was a girl, I've changed from my first analysis 30 odd years ago to now. But as a woman, you know, to have all that advice and always get your makeup right and never make another shopping mistake.
Saves you a lot of money.
It saves you a lot of money. And people, gosh, that's a lot. And I'll go, you know, a lot of ladies have colour in their hair. And I go, well, how much is your hair bill? You know, if you have a colour and a cut, so let's say you have a couple of foils woven in, you know, with a copper and a blonde, and then they put a colour on, again, my background as well, you know, your bill is way over £100 in a lot of salons, and 12 weeks later you repeat the process.
Whereas this happens,
we're talking at
once.
least a decade.
Okay,
you go back to your consultant, I hope, as I got my clients back for updates, and I used to do swimsuit event, you know, choose your best swimsuit, your best sunglasses, and I used to do an open house. It was hilarious. I used to do shopping weekends where I used to take 20 women away for the weekend. That's why I look like this. Because I used to do 3 a year for like 14 years. And they were always booked up because somebody would come on it with their sister, and then they'd be on, not the next one possibly, but the one after that with their sister and 4 other friends. And then those friends would come again with somebody else. So it got really where it was like this stone that just kept gathering moss. And I had to stop when I bought the business. But I may do one more of those.
It was really fun. But I love that, you know, swimwear, your caftans that you wear, your sunglasses, your jewellery, the weight of jewellery, the
size
styles.
of jewellery, colour of jewellery, whether it's gold or silver or mixed. You know, live as a soft and blended. Your jewellery can be gold or silver, but it's even better if it's matte. You know, beaten gold, you know, pummeled gold, matte gold, where stones are not shiny sapphires, but they're more opals and softer stones even that don't look bright against you. And if they're diamonds, buy diamonds or get somebody who buy you diamonds. I would never say
diamonds are a girl's best friend. Absolutely.
You know, that's still great. There's all these exceptions, but generally speaking, and you go you know, I've travelled a lot with my work, and yes, I go on holiday as well, but generally work takes me to cities, you know, like Milan, Paris, Rome, Barcelona, and all of that. And there is this thing where you see the native women in those countries, and you look at a lady in the middle of Vienna or Paris or wherever, and you think, my God, she's got a blouse on and a pair of trousers and she looks amazing. They have this chic, we call it city chic. And it is, you know, it's something that not the Brits don't always think about, and that is finishing off a garment even on holiday where it's baking hot. But she's had her lashes tinted, or she's got waterproof mascara on, she's got bronzer on, she's got a lip gloss on, her lip gloss is in her bag. because when she has a coffee, she'll need to reapply. You know, I think sometimes to look fantastic, there is a bit of effort involved.
Yeah.
For those natural personalities that want to as well, I guess.
And she puts a belt on round the jeans instead of going, I'm on holiday. You know, my trousers fit. I don't need a belt. Yes, you do need a belt. Because it finishes the outfit. And you think about the bag that you're wearing or the purse that you're carrying, you know, the shoes. And they do this. It's innate.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this yesterday. And because what we came up with also is a lot of people in these cities, we're on to another subject, rent their properties, where the Brits invest in bricks and mortar.
Yes.
And we have more money to pay out and we do our homes.
Yeah.
So the clothes sometimes have always been an afterthought.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that is post-COVID, that is changing because we were all coming out as butterflies because we did something that was so alien to the human race because we're pack animals. It was during COVID, all that was taken from us. The mixing with people. So, and it's a word I'm going to hold on to your furniture to say this word because I struggle saying it because I'm a real classic. Everything matches all the time. I was everything that works together. It's a personality trait. And I always go dizzy when I say loungewear. I don't know whether it's one word now or two words because I don't care. You know, and there was a lot of that, and lots of people love it, and it can continue for the natural people. But those people that are not naturals had to get out of it pretty sharpish, you know, and start what they say dressing up again.
Yes, you're so right. Loungewear was a huge thing, and it existed for nearly 2 years. But for those who were city chics or creatives or dramatics, I mean, it was so alien.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I never really went into it because I kept working and a lot of the stuff we did was on Zoom. And to do an effective Zoom call, I had to get dressed because I couldn't perform in pyjamas.
Yes.
Although they were all my pyjamas are in my colour palette.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're classically matching.
Can I just say that even my car is in my coloured palette?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say kind of like, do you know, people maybe my age or older or whatever, and the trends are coming out. Like, I know a lot of maybe like girls my age, the trend is like a tight fitting short dress that's very thin material. Yes. So I would wear that, and then when I went for an appointment and I thought like softer lighter fabrics on the bottom don't really work for me, and that tight fitting dress doesn't work, I guess it was good to know, but also kind of hard to hear, because as well, like, you kind of want to fit in, like everyone's wearing that, like I want to wear it too, but then you also don't feel good if you don't, you know, think that you look good as well.
No, because somebody, if it's wrong for you, one of your mates, one of your friends will look better than you will ever. And you'll look better in something else. And I think the thing that, as somebody a bit more mature, which is starting, you know, things as you get a bit older, they get on your nerves. Okay, they never got on your nerves when you was younger. And it's like, they say, I want to wear it because everybody else is. And I go, why? Why do you not want to be a little bit different? Why do you not want to be an individual? Because everybody's starting to look the same. And so, and again, some people look better than others because they have the shape for that particular trend. But even trends have changed. Whereas you used to get, you know, many years ago when I was your age, I don't think there were trends, to be honest. I think there were certain things that you went out and bought, but nobody said, oh, this range is in. You just saw stuff in the shops. Nothing was, no social media or anything like that. And then it became a frenzy twice a year, pre-COVID, where fashion people were putting out stuff that is all repeated 5 seasons later, you know, but slightly tweaked or reworked, but it is the same. You can pull out this season's floral dress, you can pull it out from to the turn of the century, from 2007, from 2012, from 2019, and wear it now. I haven't got those dates right. They're just dates I pulled out. But whatever is in now with the floral print dress, okay, I think there's probably a bit more detail in this season and the romantic women are loving all this detailing and florals. Anybody who's a natural just cuts the tassels off. They buy the dress and cut the tassels off. You would live, wouldn't you?
My mum would have the tassels. She's romantic all over. And
So, because they'd say, oh, it's too fussy. But your best friend who is a romantic, like Nicole Kidman, would say, oh, I love all that detail. And say, oh, that's going to end up in my food.
Yeah, that's like the Kath Kidson brand and things like that. The romantics love that brand, don't they? It's what they home in. Whereas me, I don't want to go near that.
No, it makes you nauseous.
As a dramatic Euro.
Yeah.
And
I think it's just really interesting because I was thinking just then about the trends of jeans. Like there were the skinny jeans, and then recently there've been like the flares, wide leg, and now we've gone to like cargos being a big thing. And how it's interesting how different body types would look different in. So
and you have to do you, don't you? You have to do you.
You have to do you. But although cargo is probably the biggest trend, nothing else has gone.
Yeah,
they haven't disappeared. They're all in the shops, which is what I was going to say. Is we sort of even this morning it was mentioned at work that like a company called E19. Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't. No.
EM are doing a drop a month. Basically, they took their. Generally, you get end of February, March. You start to see what's in for spring. Sometimes it's a bit earlier or later, and the weather governs that because you've got to remember that the stores have to move their winter merchandise because they make more money in the winter than they do out of summer.
Yeah.
Because stuff is either weightier, which means it's more expensive, or the UK, we buy more winter stuff than we do summer. Unless we unless you're somebody who holidays or cruises all the time. But even that's changed a bit, where they now a lot of stores are having drops where they'll get their first main trend in, and then something else comes in a month later, and then something else comes in. So even that's been diffused, I think, to stop the frenzy. And also, it's going back to this investing in things that really do suit you, paying a bit more so it washes better. The clothes are not going to landfill.
Yeah.
And if you stick to the right palette of colours, because it all comes back to this, what you buy next season, invest in next season, will go with something that you bought this season.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
It is.
So
now, some people will disagree with that, and they don't need us or want us. That's okay.
And that's okay. And I think I remember, I'm just coming to that conversation in terms of you've got the colour analysis, you've got the style analysis that suits your body shape and the jewelry and everything, the glasses, and then you've got your personality style within that, creatives, dramatics, your sheets. You've got the makeup, you've now got skincare as well. So you've got these sort of 5 routes of streams into the business, I guess. Workshops, books that you sell.
Oh yeah, we've got our publications. I mean, the Colour Me Beautiful book is in 18 languages.
Is it?
Yeah. Wow. And it's so sad really, in a way, because when I didn't have the business, then it was owned by somebody else, but I was sort of their global trainer. And I went to Russia, the book went into Russia. So we got a distributor for Russia, and I went over and did some TV appearances with interpreters because I could never learn Russian. I could do a bit of Spanish. I can even understand, certain languages you can understand bits, but Russian and Ukraine. So I did Russia and was on a few breakfast TV programs launching the company over there. And then we trained our distributor and a couple of trained people who were going to be trainers for Russia and the Ukraine.
Wow.
Our distributor for the Ukraine, sadly, is in Turkey.
Okay.
She's fled with her family. And for Russia, we can't get emails through, so I don't know.
Wow. I mean, you've had such an interesting career, and it goes on, and
I can't believe my career, actually. I can't.
Well, you didn't have this figured out at school, so for, linking to the School Run podcast, this wasn't, you weren't going to be globally training men and women and companies on colour.
I left school on a Thursday with 5 O levels.
So the old GCSE language.
And one of them was in cookery, which was called domestic science, which I'm so pleased I did. Half the stuff I made in my cookery class each week was thrown in the bin or used as a doorstop. But so I've got 4 credible O-levels, I suppose, because you've got your English and maths and what have you. And so that was okay. And of course I'd left, like I said, left on the Thursday. I'd got a job for the Monday, which you did. You just got a job. I went for 3 interviews, got 3 jobs and picked the one I wanted. And it was good, actually. And it catapulted me onto other things. So I've got this thing also that, the exams are great, and you have to go through. You have to be schooled, not only for so that you're clever. And I have this thing that clever and intelligence are totally
different things. Different. Me too, yeah.
Or intellectual, because I'm not an intellectual. I'm clever, and I think I've become a bit shrewd, a bit worldly wise. I've got a QBE, qualified by experience.
Yes.
Because I've run a business.
Yeah.
Gosh, nothing I ever thought I'd be doing. But I think, people, certainly as they're leaving school, need to follow. It sounds very flimsy, this, but follow their dream and try and get in a job. I found a hobby, I had my colours analysed and I researched it, and it was a bit of a hobby, and went to train to do it, and I turned that into my career. Gosh, found out I was good because I was passionate, I was better. Because I was better, I was busier.
Yeah.
Because I was busier, you get even busier. I ended, yes, I said I'm never ill. I ended up in hospital once with exhaustion because I never said no.
Yes.
And they told me to cut down from my 65 hour week to something a bit more reasonable.
But you see, it didn't feel like work because you absolutely loved it. And
and it still doesn't feel like work. Okay, I have a desk job more now, but it's still in a fantastic industry that is very, very creative.
And you get asked to, comment in national newspapers. You do a lot of articles on commenting on outfits, maybe the Oscars and such a body's outfit and the colours and the shades.
We've just done something on blue, cobalt blue. Who gets it? Who should have it?
Yes.
If you don't get it, could you do it? Yes, you can, but where should you wear it?
Absolutely.
All of that.
What should you wear it with? And
and colour combinations, things that people don't think about.
Yeah.
And people can come into your industry now because obviously you've got 1,100 consultants across the world. And
I do that. Every time you say that, I gasp.
That many. So people can train with you to do this and set up their business. And actually, Cliff, a little insight that lots of listeners won't know, but I did it. I trained as a consultant for a short period of time when I was at university and helped the singers to choose dresses that worked for them. Yeah. And obviously my singing went off and the teaching and little voices, but I've always remained loyal to the concept of colour analysis.
Yeah. I mean, we trained last week, but COVID made a huge difference for if we hadn't have had cosmetics, I'd have lost the business, basically. But women don't give up cosmetics even during a pandemic,
and you need your makeup on Zoom, let's face it.
Whoever is up there or out there, whoever you believe in, is that made a huge difference, our cosmetic range. Because we prescribe makeup, and our boxes, our compacts are empty and everything fits in on magnets, so you can have your eyeshadows, your lip gloss and blushes all in one compact. And I get arrogant again. I saw these ladies yesterday and they said, "Oh, so I can put in what I want." I said, "No, you can put in what I say you can have." I'll tick off everything you can have, and if you order something that's different, you won't get it, because if you don't look good, I don't get repeat business. So it is about me, not you. They did giggle too.
But I love my compact.
Yes. And then you only replace the bits that are necessary. Instead of buying a box of 4 eyeshadow, a quad, and you use 2, and one is used first, then you start using the second. There's one in there that you'd rather stick pins in your eyes than use that colour. And one, you try it once and it doesn't work. But so we've got the makeup cracked, and it's all paraben free, and we certainly don't test on animals, which is really interesting. That's why we have a great business in China that we sell our wallets and swatches, and they do lots of colour analysis, and we have a distributor there. But we can't sell cosmetics into China because we don't test on animals.
Right. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, she does buy some of us because she's got an uncle in Hong Kong. yeah, we just can't distribute in China.
Yeah, so I think you can maybe do a little reel on the compact, because I've got one with the makeup things in and how it works.
It's phenomenal,
it's just
because
beautiful.
again, it just saves wastage. But I mean, apart from that, we have got our books, and we've got the men's book. We've got a book for men. I'm in there as a short-waisted, muted, warm rectangle with no backside, which is what I am. I mean, my colouring has changed from that book, but it again, going back to when I had my consultation, it just stopped me wandering aimlessly around, and I'd got 3-button jackets, and you go, I don't look right in this, but you had to wear it because you bought it, because I was, I had a normal job with I had a car and I worked for a great company, but I couldn't just buy something and then go, I won't wear that anymore. But you put it on wherever I could, I'd take the jacket off.
Yeah.
So I always hoped for a warm day.
Yes.
Because it didn't look right, but you can't pinpoint it, and it stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
And I think I got so kind of evangelical, and that's why I ended up training.
Yeah.
And we trained last week. We're doing it on Zoom. Part of the course is on Zoom now. So we had a lady on from the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
On a course, a lady from Scotland.
Yeah.
A lady from Wiltshire. And a lady from I'm going to say Gloucestershire. I might be wrong.
Might be quite, yeah.
But so we have 4. We only do 4 at a time. And then we do a face-to-face. They come and do this top-up. So they only have to spend a couple of days away from home.
Yeah. And that's, that's one of the great things that came out of the pandemic. Obviously, you survived, and the cosmetics got you through, which is superb. But also, we've now got this hybrid way of training and working. So you can train more consultants worldwide to impact more women and men and companies, I guess. I know that the first impression that you make, and this was something Liv was looking obviously for prom dresses and shapes and things when we looked into it as mum and daughter for her, but also that first impression as you walk in a room, isn't it 78% is an instant depending on what you look like?
Right, out of the 100%, 7% of the impression you make when we meet people for the first time, just 7% is based on what we say, the words.
Okay.
Yeah, because people start judging, eyeballing you. And then the other 93% is made up of body language. And I'm going to say your packaging, how you package yourself. So when you walk in and start to shake hands, which is why Weller used this also in lots of companies in the early 90s. I was the stream of corporate clients I had went on to, if A4 sheets, from airline companies to cruise line, P&O, to Sainsbury's. I did a job for Sainsbury's once for their senior managers, because first impressions count. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And if you don't make the right impression, you have to work harder with your mouth to prove that you know what you're talking about, to prove what's coming out of it is logical and your job. Whereas and it can be different, so, I mean, when I left, I immediately got this slot on the radio every Sunday morning with Richard Hammond.
Oh, yes.
Who did the Sunday morning show. And, people used to say, what is style? What is the right thing? How should you dress? And I go, I can't do that. Everybody's different.
Everyone is an individual.
Whether you're curvy, whether you're straight. So we've got 2 things that your colouring makes a difference. And then, of course, it depends the job that you're in. If you need to look approachable as a teacher, a counsellor, somebody who works with anybody, with anybody that is, I don't know, needs nurturing, in a caring role, post-pandemic, that's made a lot of issues around that. Even the colours make a difference, like green is more approachable, blue is more authoritative, dark colours you step away from rather than approach. So there's all of that. And then you've got the packaging from going on to, as a guy or a girl, does he or she need to be suited and booted? Is it that professional? So were they in the medical? I used to do lots with pharmaceutical companies. If they're talking to GPs in surgeries, how do they look for that? But if they're presenting to an audience, I remember once doing a presentation for a company that made colostomy bags.
Wow!
You think I didn't think that word would ever come into my
But interesting, the people that you meet and that your consultants must meet on their journey and build their businesses.
The point
with
is,
you.
everybody's different. Everybody needs what you do. Who are you? What's your personality? What's your colouring? What's your height? All of this. What you do.
Mm-hmm.
Women, you see, again, mainly more women now. Women don't have one role anymore. There was there used to be, oh, she's a career woman. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have a house to run, or she's a homemaker. That's becoming less and less because I think in this day and age, with the price of everything, it needs a lot of the case, and please don't shoot the messenger here, it needs two incomes to support a household in a lot of instances. So women have this juggling as well. So, going back to my job, their wardrobes have to work with that juggling.
Yeah, they need to be functional.
Yeah, and I just think this, you can see how this business and the industry, it's relevant to everybody. Because everyone has the colours, everyone has a body shape. It's relevant for everybody. It just works.
And you just have to be curious to know more about it, I suppose. If you had your chance over again, we always ask a couple of questions within the podcast, Cliff. What would you go back and tell your younger self? So when those O-levels were ongoing and taking those exams, or around that time, what advice would you give to a young person, knowing now with your years of wisdom and running a global business?
I would have taken it more seriously, but that is hard, it's because there's a saying, isn't there? Youth is wasted on the young. As you get older, you say that. My mum used to say it to me. And it is, because when you are a youth, you've got to balance it with fun. But knowing what I know now, I think I'd have taken it a little bit more seriously. And then retracting that, almost, I didn't have a crystal ball. Mm-hmm. So it's almost, it's such a difficult question to answer. I was brought up in an age where you did as you was told, or you suffer the consequences. And there's things that happened to me, at home and what have you, that made me into this person, which I never thought I'd I knew I'd be a great person. I hoped I would. But all I did was find a career which made me successful. And I could become successful because of the passion. And I still don't think I work. I still think I go and, exude this excitement. I drive my staff mad.
But I'm the same.
I bounce. But, and it's like, I do sit in darkened rooms at night with wine because I'm exhausted. Turn the light off. But the younger self, it is so difficult because it's, I think you need to follow your dream. I think you need, certainly even more than I did, you have to think about planning what you really want to do, because I don't think there's a career for life anymore, because of all industries are about, there is going to be change. I remember giving up my full-time job to do this, and people were astounded that I wasn't going to have a proper job anymore. What they meant is salaried.
Yeah.
Of course.
And a pay packet at the end of the month.
And a pay packet. And people still say to me, I couldn't do what you do, Cliff, because, I get a pay packet now because I have the company. Before, when I was a self-employed consultant, what I did in a day, in the week, which was great, because I'd sent somebody a message and I said, I'm in the office this morning, then I've got some errands to run and I'm going to nip off home early, which doesn't happen very often, I can assure you. And they went, to be self-employed. And I thought, you don't know the half of it, really.
Yeah.
And then I thought, and they came back and they said, I could not do what you do. I am so conscious of having a guaranteed income every month. And I said, but the difference between having a dream, following it, being passionate, taking that leap of faith, is you determine your own salary check at the end of the month. And people still won't do that. They still won't take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
I think I've got guts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing. I think you've got to have guts. And a lot of these people you see on Apprentice that are judges and all of that, I thought lots of people have been bankrupt once or twice. I haven't, hand on wood or touch wood. I haven't, but a lot of successful people dust herself off.
And get back on
Get back, you fall off your bike, get back on your bike and ride again. So everybody's so individual. There's so many choices now.
And you've got to back yourself, haven't you? Choose your passion and then back yourself and really commit to it.
And the other thing is be consistent. I always say to everybody, even our consultants, they'll go sometimes, and they do. This is not a bed of roses, no careers on. They go, no, it's quiet. Now, I don't take that, because if I was quiet in my career, but again, just me being a stylist or my own image consultant, I used to do something about it. So I don't go, it's summer, we're always a bit quiet in the summer, or Christmas is coming, because it annoys me that it's Christmas. They say, we'll stop it like on the 15th of December, it's Christmas. No, Christmas is the 24th. If you want, it can be the 24th, Christmas Eve. I worked in retail. Christmas was 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve.
And you were back in Boxing Day for the sales.
I don't take that. You do something about it because you can determine how things are going to progress. But we do get this, it's quiet. And I don't go, what a shame it is. I go, tell me what you've done for the last 3 months to market your business, to keep it going through the summer. And they go, well, the kids were off school, so we took a week's holiday and we did this. Oh, my husband wanted a trip to such a place, or we changed the car so we could, whatever. And I go, stop. So what you're telling me is you haven't done anything,
which has now had a knock-on effect to what
because if you was an employee, you would have to keep doing your job. You can't say, the kids were off school, because they say, well, take time off and you're not being paid because you've used your holiday, or whatever. Yeah. Self-employment is no different. You have to be consistent. If anybody, I haven't done any mentoring. I've been asked a few times with business organisations to do mentoring. So look, leave it till I've got a bit more time and I can focus. But if anybody came up to me, the first thing I'd say is be consistent.
Prove
to me or anybody else that you have done stuff. Now, if that doesn't work, if you say it's still quiet, you can go back and go, let's see where you've gone wrong. If you come up and go, well, I did a bit of this and I did a bit of that,
it's not going to end up with that consistent coming through.
Can't, so you have to monitor, which is schooling. It all goes back to schooling and lesson, your teacher does lesson plans. You have to go in, there's a curriculum, you have to go into those lessons. So everything's planned. As you leave school, you have to plan also. All the fun bits, great. Oh gosh, all the fun bits, I've walked out of a nightclub having to hold on to somebody,
but look at the plan.
Can I just say, not recent.
That's
not for 4 decades.
I'm sure that people are going to love this episode when it releases, Cliff, and I know that we're going to have even more people contacting us to say, how can we get in touch? How can we have our colour analysis, style personality, get the makeup done with the colour? Where can they find you? I know you've got a great website. What's the website?
It's really simple. It's colourmebeautiful.co.uk.
Colourmebeautiful.co.uk. I've seen that everything. It's all on there. And I've seen that you've got Facebook and social media.
Group. Yeah, I believe now you're going out. I'm starting to look really vacant because I don't deal with that. I believe we've got Instagram.
Yes,
and we tweet. I was going to say
Twitter.
I was going to say we Twitter. And I think we're going to start doing, because I'm being bombarded, TikTok.
Yes, TikTok will work a treat. Well, we're really looking forward. So you can obviously DM us, get in touch with me. In the show notes of this episode, we're going to give all the links to the website, how to get in touch with Colour Me Beautiful, how to find your nearest consultant. We're hoping at some point there might be a nice special discount code for you, but we'll see where that goes in our conversations. But thank you for listening. My mum listens every week, Cliff, and you know her, Ruth.
I do, so say hello to Ruth.
She was a soft, cool, deep, I believe.
Okay.
The old soft summer.
Because we used to use seasons. The old Colour Me Beautiful book was spring, summer, autumn, winter. So people at my age and slightly younger will remember that
seasons. But now it's much more about.
It's more flexible.
Absolutely,
we were pigeonholed, and lots of people still do seasons, and I think it's still better than doing nothing.
Yes,
I still agree with that. But what we've done, we've expanded it and made it a little bit more modern and appropriate for, because really we'd got Princess Diana as a spring. Fergie, the Duchess of York, as a spring, and Courtney Cox, our friends, as a
Wow.
dark-haired
So they were
spring.
all sort
So
of-
we knew we had to change
yes.
because they couldn't all wear the same shades.
So my mum is, she'll be listening 6 a.m. on Monday when this episode goes out, and she always said, don't forget to ask the question, Jane, as our listeners are used to me asking, do you have a school run memory from your own school run? Did you go by car, bus, walk to school? Who took
Well, all
you?
three of those. I think in the early days it was walking to school. Actually, I didn't like school, so it was more of a dragging to school. So I was dragged to school probably for 2 years. And then, of course, we were a one-car family, and my father worked, so sometimes he'd gone to work, so there wasn't a second car for your mum to run you to school. So I think there was the bus, and of course at secondary school it was always the bus.
It was always
I was
the bus.
Brought up but my later schooling was in Blackpool, so
Okay.
we used to get the bus to school and back again. And I quite liked school then.
You did?
I got to like it. I got into it. It was only the last few years,
Yeah.
and I think it was possibly, if you look back now or think about me now, because I'm obviously more creative. I've learned the maths that, and I've learned so much more off other people. You never stop learning. I mean, my grammar even is so much better than when I left school. And my grammar has improved because the ex-managing director of Colour Me Beautiful was French.
Right.
And she learned English properly. And I remember as I became a trainer and then did other stuff for them, and even stuff that was important for me to write, Veronique is called, anything important or newsletters as I sent them out to my clients, I used to say, would you just check this for me?
For the grammar,
So a
really?
French woman checking my grammar.
Wow.
And now, but I've got it. I've got the hang of it now.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I can write now. Yeah. But it doesn't. Not everything matters. You don't have to have all your ducks in a row. You just take a leap of faith, start, and then improve each section, or get people around you when you can afford to, that can do the stuff that you can't do. And that's why I work a bit less. I'm down to 45, 50 hours a week now.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Because other people, like Excel, I don't want to, people say, do it on an Excel sheet. I said, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
And they go, teacher, I said, I don't want to know because I'll end up doing it.
Yeah.
And at the moment, you can do it.
So you're learning the art of delegation as
So
well.
they do it, and I don't touch Excel.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing your
pleasure.
journey with us and being here. I think this will be a fantastically well-received episode. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Wasn't that a fabulous episode? Wow. I've learned so much, and I knew lots already about colour, style, makeup, and what makes us look fabulous when we walk into a room. As I mentioned in the middle of the episode, if you'd like to get in touch with Cliff and become a consultant, please email him at cliff@cmbdirect.co.uk, or ring the head office if you'd like an experience and to be matched with the best consultant for you in your area. Ring the head office, quote the School Run, and they will look after you and give you a lovely discount to enable you to have this amazing experience for yourself or a loved one, or maybe someone within your organisation or your entire business. So please let us know if you get in touch with CMB, Colour Me Beautiful. We'd love to hear from you over on our Instagram channel, on our LinkedIn page. We've got a community coming on Facebook very soon so that we can continue the chat, what you found interesting about our episodes. But the most important thing that you could do right now for Liv and I to help us on our podcasting journey is click the follow button, top right of your app that you're listening to this episode on. Please just click that follow button, and that really helps us to improve and get better and bring amazing guests to have super episodes for you to listen to. So thank you so much. Remember to take advantage of your offer over the next 7 days. Ring the head office, quote the School Run, and they will apply a discount, and then they will find you and match you with your most amazing consultant in your area. Thanks for listening.